Hello, everybody, and we are live with you today. Today is our 6th episode of Resource at Home. My name is Carla Labianca, and I'm a realtor here in Maplewood, New Jersey. And I'm also one half of the realty partnership of Danbrot Labianca. My partner, Lisa Danbrot, and I are the co-founders and co-producers of the Resource Home Show. Lisa?
Hi, I'm Lisa Danbrot. I'm the other half of Danbrot Labianca Partnership and as well co-producer of the Resource Home Show, a realtor in Maplewood, New Jersey.
And Nureed?
Hi, everyone. I'm Nureed Saeed. I'm owner and creative director of New Interiors. I'm a bi-coastal interior design firm specializing in kitchens and baths.
And Sarah G.
Hi, I'm Sarah G, owner of Sarah G Interiors here in Maplewood, New Jersey.
Fantastic. So thank you so much, ladies. I'm so happy to have the 4 of us back again together today. It's so great to see all of your faces. We're going to be talking about DIY. It's a popular topic. Everybody wants to know how to do it. And we're all in quarantine right now, at least most of us are, especially here in the Northeast and where Nureed is on the West Coast. And so how can we make the most use of our time? Now, DIY is everything from interior design and the fun stuff like rearranging your pillows and your artwork to the unsexy stuff like opening up that closet and taking all that junk out and organizing it into bins for the Goodwill or to give away to the kids down the street or to keep. So without further ado, why don't we jump into what the 2 interior designers in our little meeting today are doing in their homes. So who wants to go first, ladies? Sarah, you want to take it away?
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not? I have been very busy with my paintbrush. I've been painting every single radiator in my house. They're all gross white. I mean, I've only lived here 8 years and they just sort of become invisible. And now I'm painting them all glossy, well, most of them glossy black. And it's a little trickier than you want it to be because you really have to clean them. That's the secret. They get really gross. But once you clean them, you can just paint them. You don't need special paint.
Okay.
The guy at the paint store, I went in saying, oh, I need high heat paint. He's like, no, you don't. So
Yeah.
Okay.
you can pick whatever color you want, which is great. I've done a couple of them yellow, but most of them are black. And I've been thinking about repainting my living room and what I call the core of the house, like the stair hallway all the way upstairs. I've been thinking about it for about 2 years now that my kids are older. And so I've been doing bit by bit, I've been repainting that. And because of that, sort of the snowball effect, I've been rehanging art. So that's kind of what I've been up to.
Gotcha. So how do you clean a radiator? I mean, there's so many nooks and crannies. I mean, do you take it outside and power wash it?
Well, you can if you're okay with unhooking it. But it's hard to, you really need to be confident in unhooking it. And a lot of people aren't, me included. So what I do is I just put plastic down. You're going to need plastic anyway if you're going to spray it, which is really the only way to get in the inside bits and pieces of it. And I have these sort of long scrub brushes, kind of like a bottle brush in a bunch of different sizes, including the smaller one that you would use for cleaning those metal straws. And you just do the very best you can. Sometimes one of those like air gun spray things for cleaning keyboards, that can work to get
that's a good idea.
The big clumps out of the sort of the innards. And if you're like me, it's very satisfying to see all the disgusting stuff that comes out.
Oh, totally. I love that.
It's also really disgusting.
It's also great that you're choosing now to do it, Sarah, like as opposed to the winter when you need your radiators to work, which, people might not think about, but I think it's like really good that you're doing it now when they're not
and you don't want to paint them when they're hot. You want them to be cold so that the paint can cure properly or your whole house will smell like paint.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to say on the idea of trends in radiator colors, since we've talked about trends in the past?
Well, I don't know if it's a trend to paint your radiators like an accent color. I mean, I've seen it more often on Pinterest and on Instagram. But I love a bright pop of in a radiator. And it's kind of like a front door. You can just repaint it down the line. It really only takes a day or a weekend. So I'm not sure. Nureed, would you say it's a trend or it's just
I think I've seen my clients, if we can't remove it or cover it with like a covering that kind of blends into cabinetry or, you know, a dining room bench or something like that. I've seen my clients, what we've done is maybe paint it a metal color, you know, either silver or gold, sometimes black. Those are really the most common of what I've seen. The pops of color for sure I think it looks awesome. And I love Sarah's aesthetic for doing that with the color. But definitely not something that everybody can stomach. So
yeah. You know, I've actually, so not radiators, but other plumbing, pipes in basements when people get their basements renovated. I've been seeing them, paint the walls white or some other neutral color, and then bam, the plumbing that is overhead in the rafters has been painted a pop of color like orange, red, or yellow, and it looks really cool.
That's
hide it, feature it.
Yeah. Really.
You can't, I mean, the thing is, covering it decreases your ceiling space. So sometimes you just have to, you just have to embrace what you have and find creative ways to work with it.
Yeah. So Nureed, what have you been up to?
Oh gosh, well, so I've been doing a lot, kind of like Sarah, but I think the two most rewarding projects that I've done were retrofitting my old fluorescent light fixtures in our downstairs apartment unit into LED fixtures because the light is just awful. And again, I think it's like one of those things where you're like, people are nervous. Oh, I need an electrician for that. I can't do it. And interestingly, my electrician out here, because he had to get to Lake Tahoe and couldn't finish the electrical in my kitchen when we were renovating, because he had to get there for camping, he said to me, you could just do it yourself. And I was like, take it. I'm like, say what now? And he was basically like, all it is a black wire and a white wire. And I was just like, he's like, I'm telling you my secret. So I literally bought these connectors, these converter connectors on Amazon. They were like $2 a pop. And all you do is you pull down the fixture, you unscrew it. And while it's hanging, you unscrew where you've got those little coney little screw points.
After cutting the power, everyone, cut the power.
Cut the power, yes, please.
Thank you, Sarah G.
You have to switch the circuit breaker is, yes. Turn the circuit breaker off. Don't just turn the light switch off. Go to your circuit breaker box. Turn off the circuit. Yeah. Then unscrew it and put it back together. Black to black, white to white. Literally, I just popped the housing back in. Didn't even take the old housing out. Honestly, just shoved it all up in there, and I have great light. This is a one-way. This is a one-way, and to turn it into brighter light, I just bought this, which is again like $2, and you get a two-way. So I did that in about 4 or 5 lights downstairs, and it has changed our experience in an apartment that we wanted to renovate, and then COVID happened. And so we were like, okay, well, we can't live with this light for the next 6 months. So what are we going to do? So that's been really rewarding for me because it was a moment of, can I actually do this? And, I was like, yes, I felt accomplished. Awesome. The other one that I did was my outside, which the curb appeal on this house is not cute. And, needed a lot of work.
You have a mid-century modern, is that right?
I have a mid-century. I'm not going to call it a mid-century modern. It's a mid-century house, and I'm very specific. You know me, I like to be specific about architecture.
Yeah.
It is built in 1954. It is a mid-century house, and it has some very quintessential mid-century architectural points. But would I call it a mid-century modern with like a cool architect? No. Out here we call it a Berkeley box. So it's like kind of like the standard house that everybody built in the mid-century period.
Is it a ranch?
Okay.
It's a weird split ranch. So there's an apartment on the lower level and then stairs to the main space of living, which has like everything. So I could rent out the downstairs if I wanted to, which again is a very Berkeley thing with ADUs because of the lack of housing. But my favorite thing was to up the curb appeal. So we did some painting on the outside, like Sarah talked about. But what and I'll show you a picture. What I did do is, red brick, very common again for mid-century architecture. I mean, on the East Coast, everything is red brick sometimes. So regardless of time period. But what I did, and I'm going to share this photo, is I actually cemented the red brick and made it kind of look a little bit more modern. So it's a goal of mine to try and change this house to look a little bit different. So I'm going to show you the first photo. So this is kind of like in progress. So you see the red brick and then you see the cement going over it.
Right.
And then you can see that I painted the stairwell black.
Looks very elegant.
Yeah.
And then I'll share one more photo with you guys. And then the kind of final when it was in process of drying, basically. So, and then you can see like where I've gotten to changing some of the curb appeal and where I haven't. It's, and it's a process. So I think what people need to understand when you're doing anything with DIY is, be patient with yourself and not expect you to finish it in a couple hours or in a day or at the pace that maybe a contractor or a worker would do. Like,
or HGTV, right?
Or
right,
HGTV, exactly. Thank you, Sarah, our favorite. I really encourage people to understand, like, it could take you weeks to do this project, and like when you have time, and it shouldn't discourage you from doing it. Like, I'm literally still, my house is like, in process. It looks like that. It's in process.
Can I just interject for a second? You guys are professional, interior stylists. And what if you just like botch it up? Like, what if it just doesn't go the way you thought it was going to go and you tried to fix it and it's just not happening? Just, do you have any words of wisdom in that?
There is no shame in calling in backup. It's fine.
Well
you
said.
Tried, it's something to do. You tried to do it. And if you can't do it the way you thought you wanted you would, or the way you would like it, it doesn't turn out the way you wanted it to.
Yeah.
Just call in a professional and they can come.
That's an important point. And it probably make a lot of people feel good to hear a professional to say, it's okay if it doesn't work, And
you might also just consider that. Totally. Sorry. Did not mean to interrupt.
What were you going to say, Nureed?
What I was going to say was also, don't feel like a failure if you realize after the fact that there was an extra step, and the extra step might be fixing something, or might be that like, oh my God, I didn't realize, like, I have to go back and do this thing. I mean, I will tell you with my cement wall, what I didn't realize was that each bag of Quikrete actually is drying at a different color. So, and so now I have to go back and either bleach that cement wall to try and get it to be a consistent color, or I have to go back and kind of use like a concrete paint on it to get it to be a consistent color, or live with the fact that it's one bag is a little browner and one bag's a little more gray, but that's one thing I didn't even realize was that the bag, and after the fact I thought about it and I was like, oh my God, yeah, of course.
It wouldn't have occurred to me.
I wouldn't have even thought that. No idea. I don't know.
Chemistry.
There you go.
I mean, my high school chemistry teacher might have been right. Maybe it's not meant for me. I don't know.
But at least you've identified a solution. You have an idea to fix it, which is nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But it seems like there was a theme in both of your stories, that there was something that you either didn't expect or that someone who wasn't accustomed to doing this kind of thing wouldn't expect. So likely there are going to be things that come up that you didn't expect. And that's
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're nervous, I mean, YouTube is full of tutorials.
Absolutely.
There are millions of tutorials on how to paint a wall. I guarantee there are ones on how to concrete a wall,
paint a radiator,
light fixture, all kinds of things. And over and over, and then dig in.
Absolutely. I use YouTube
I have
everything.
no shame I have no shame in admitting that 9 out of 10 times before I start a DIY project, I call my contractor Carlos, who you guys all know, who's like a brother to me, and I'm literally like, so I'm thinking about doing this, and he has no shame in telling me, you're batshit crazy, don't even think about it, or you know what, you can do it, but you need to know these things first. So you know, and he kind of preps me and is like, here's a trick, here's a thing. I mean, for sure, like, I mean, everyone knows, I think, well, not everyone, you guys know I'm obsessed with tile and that I love tiling and that I like to do tiling myself, but he's the one who taught me how, honestly. And like, he gave me tricks and the whole thing. So
it's funny, tiling is one thing that I'm actually kind of afraid of. Like, I'll tackle anything, but like, oh, I don't know, tiling. I'm like, I'm scared of doing it myself. He is the one who encouraged me to do it because he knows how much I love it. And he's the one who told me, just get the $150 tile cutter from Home Depot. He was like, as long as you have a good blade, you'll be fine. And he was right. Like, I've done some pretty crazy shit with that. Some crazy stuff with that tile cutter.
We love that. We want to see some, Nureed.
I will show you some for sure.
Yeah.
Carla, what about you?
Oh, well.
What are your projects that you enjoy and you're doing?
You know, I love everything from painting furniture. As I think most of you know, I'm a huge fan of Annie Sloan chalk paint. You know, you clean that furniture off, you don't have to sand it, prime it, do anything to it, and you paint away. And there are so many amazing colors and lots of fun stuff, and anything in your house is up for grabs. It's awesome. So that's something I do a lot of. I think recently, and Lisa, you can certainly attest to this because, you know, you recently had a personal home sale yourself and had to get your house ready, is decluttering and organization. I love it. I think it's so satisfying. I know in the beginning of this this episode, I said it's unsexy, but wow, when you see 15, 16 bags or boxes piled up on your front porch, and the United War Veterans Council or the Vietnam War Vets is coming to take that shit away, it feels so good.
Nothing like it.
Oh, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. And I do it consistently. I do it consistently.
I wish I was like you, Carla. I wish I had done it consistently, because when I had to prep my home for sale in New Jersey and had to condense down 4,100 square feet into a cross-country move to California in a rental that was 3,500 square feet, I was like, oh my God, how am I going to, and you know, it was crazy to figure out how to do that. And then we moved again within less than a year when we bought the house that we're in. And P.S. this house is 2,400 square feet. So we went from 4,100 to 2,400 square feet in 2 years, and had to go through the steps of what that meant to like prep for sale and move twice.
Yeah, that's right. Lisa, we always tell our clients, don't we? Always like treat your house as if you're going to move next year.
Okay, so
and why is that?
What I was gonna
because
say.
you never know. You never know what's going to happen. Don't let it go.
Carla,
I wish I had listened to you.
How often do you declutter?
Once a year. Okay. And it's always in January.
All right. So regardless of any moving plans, have that standard once a year declutter.
Absolutely.
It's really ideal. If you can possibly, you know, find a way to get off on that, like go for it. You know, it's not.
I do. which is why I do it.
I know. It's not sexy at the upfront, but boy, is it sexy,
right?
You know, after the fact, and to look at those bags stacked and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, insanely productive feeling, and you just feel like, you know, you're so on top of the world.
You know, the other thing that I tell all of our clients to do is, you know, once your house is closed, don't you dare put away that inspection report. Don't do it. Tick all of that stuff off, and you don't have to do it all in the first week or 2, 6 months, even in the first year, but don't defer that maintenance, you know, and some of it's not all going to be DIY. Some of it you're going to have to call in,
absolutely,
you know, people to help you, but don't let it go. And that in itself is a DIY project, right? Because it's management of your house.
Right.
And so you want to keep that document handy. You want to make sure that you're ticking things off as you go by, as the years go by. And you know what? If the time comes when you want to sell, or a life event happens to you, like Nureed, you got transferred across the country, or maybe your kids are finally graduating and you don't need this big house anymore, guess what? You know it's been maintained.
Right.
And the buyers are going to see that too. So it's really important.
Yeah. I, like Nureed, just went through a big move, and I am not naturally inclined to decluttering on a regular basis, although I do love sporadic purging. So, you know, we all fall into our own categories, but if you're not like ideal in this way and aren't actually decluttering yearly, at the very first whisper of a move, you know, even if it's like, maybe not, we're just playing with this idea, you know, decluttering is the first thing you got to start doing, because then in the best of all worlds, even if you don't move, you're benefiting your life so much. So just go forth with the decluttering at the first onset of anyone's mentioning or thinking of a move. Just start, right?
Right. So Lisa, what did you do? I mean, what was the first thing you did when you started?
Do well. I did more like, you know, what Nureed was talking about. I was overwhelmed. I wasn't necessarily, I was ambivalent about the move, and I just looked at the project like, shit, I don't want to do this. So I left it to the last minute, and it was gut wrenching. It was horrible. It was emotionally horrible. It was labor intensive to the degree that I think I lost 10 pounds in like 5 days. I mean, I was like sweating, crying, you know, like not even just fighting with people. It was bad. It was really bad. It was like a mountain of work to take on, and it wasn't good. It was not ideal. And when I move into my next phase, you know, I will be more methodical about getting rid of things. The other thing I just wanted to touch on about purging and decluttering is that if you do declutter on a regular basis, you get to see how much we consume. And it's really not like, it's something that we kind of deny it, and we sort of put it in the garage, the proverbial storage space that we do. And when you do declutter on a regular basis, you begin to realize how much you consume, and do we need to consume this much? And most of the time, no. And it was, you know, like I had way too much stuff to get rid of, and it was on that level really hard as well, because I had to look at myself as a human being on this planet, you know, really not contributing.
Lisa, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Last January, not this past one, but January 2019, my husband and I decided, we were standing in the basement. I was tearing my hair out at all the just clutter that we had in our, what we call the bunker, which is just, you know, Costco storage and stuff we don't use in the kitchen. And we decided to get rid of a third of our belongings. I'm not sure if we made it to a third, but we got rid of a ton of stuff, and it has made even just going into this little small renovation that we're doing now so much easier, because I have so much less kitchen stuff to store, because if I hadn't used it in a year, it was gone. And I do cook, so it's one of those things where you know what you don't use. There's no need for you to have it.
Right, and I bet you're not going to go back there.
No, because I was absolutely disgusted with the stuff that I had. And why do I have it? And I had stuff from preschool, you know, like different kinds of cupcake carriers. Like, that's not my life anymore. I mean, I understand, like, in preschool, you make a lot of cupcakes and bring them to preschool, but why do I still have them? Why was I keeping all this stuff? And it's the kind of thing that once you get rid of it, it's sort of painful to get rid of it, but once it's released, you never think about it again.
Yeah. Oh,
and it feels so good. It feels like, you're just shedding weight. It's amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember, what was it, 2 years ago, I think, I found, I don't know, 100 menus from our wedding and invitations. And I'm thinking, why in the world do I need all this? I mean, just you're so right. The weight that the physical weight, the mental weight of getting rid of all this stuff. Yeah, you wonder why you keep it. You wonder why you have it. But it felt great to get rid of. So I think we lost Lisa.
We did.
Yeah.
We've lost her.
Okay, so maybe that's a good time to say, what else haven't we talked about in the DIY world, ladies? Is there anything else that we want to tell our viewers?
I think easy stuff, getting ready for the summertime. Easy stuff is kind of links to what we talked about last week with Neil and Laura.
Yeah.
So I think, just some sprucing up and landscaping and flowers, potted plants, I think any and all of the above are just to get your space ready for the upcoming summer. And I know all of us are looking at a summer that includes no summer camps and no help really for a lot of us with children. So the other thing that I got was a $30 tree swing from Amazon and put it on a tree. Hi, Lisa.
All right.
And that was like a simple DIY. And I have people walking by my house all the time being like, where'd you get that? I need that because the parks still aren't open. Playgrounds aren't open. So I think anything you can do that's kind of quick and easy to make your life prepped for an outdoor summer.
Nice.
Yeah. The thing that
Sarah?
I will add is I have a little book. I'm a huge list maker. I have books of lists for different topics, but I have one specifically that it's my projects list. And it's not all projects that are DIY, but it's as I notice things, I write it down, like whatever, broken window needs to be swapped out, whatever it is, paint the living room wall. And I write it all down. And then each season I kind of go through it and pick out the things that I want to accomplish that season and figure out if I can do it or if I need to get someone in to help me with it. It's just a good way as you're going through stuff to, if I write it down, I'll remember it. Otherwise it's just gone. So that's my method.
I love that. That's actually a good segue into mine. Take out your inspection list, people. Yeah. Look at it. Make a plan to get all that stuff fixed. And other than that, I don't have much more to say on that topic. Lisa, what do you think? What's your one parting thought?
My parting thought is I went dark for a minute. It was weird.
We missed you while you were gone.
I missed you too. So my parting thought is back to decluttering for one moment, because it is such an overarching theme of living well, is to categorize, to make things methodical, as list making is as well. You want to kind of think of your decluttering in 5 different categories. You want to, especially if you're moving, you want to store things. You want to store things in your garage, very well organized, or you want to get things into a storage space that you're not using during your home sale. You'll likely be staging in some way. So that, but then also after that, you want to categorize giving away to family or friends. Do you have any heirlooms? Has your friend come over and said, I love that piece? Oh, I don't want it anymore. Please have it. There's selling, obviously, on local swap sites, or say sites like Kayo or Apartment Deco, where you can actually sell your goods and purchase as well, for that matter. There's, of course, eBay and Craigslist. We all know about that.
Isn't there an app called Let Go?
What?
There's an app called Let Go.
Oh, see, these kind of things are great. So it's
I think it's like super quick. It's like as easy as basically the apps to get your weed out here. So
right. Yes.
It's legal.
People find ways. People find ways. And then there's finally, of course, donation, and donations are, always, there's so many ways of donating, and it helps so many people. I really found book donations to be difficult. I will say that books are really hard, especially in COVID. Lots of libraries are not taking them anymore. Goodwill sometimes does. There are, sites that you can research, maybe ask your local train station if you can leave books for people to read as commuters. So, all these things, books were really hard for me because we had so many and we just were like.
Lisa, it could be a DIY community project. Like someone could make a little library box.
That's right.
Love
that. Put it in your community to put all of your books. I think that's
for sure. And then if you have to get rid of things, if you have to throw things out, just like we hired a big dumpster and we chucked things, and we felt really sad that we amassed so much, and we're learning from it. So.
And now it's gone, and I bet you don't miss it.
So happy that it's gone, and so not that it's gone so much.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I never thought, having grown up on the East Coast in the New Jersey area, I never ever thought that I would live in 2,400 square feet with 3 children and feel like, oh, this is fine. And I don't need all that stuff. And why did I have 5 sofas and 5 different places to watch TV? And I really came to California with a perspective of being a New Jerseyan, of being like, I need a big house that has all this stuff. And now, having lived in this limited space with the limited stuff, and not even having a television in our living room, honestly, like we have it in our master bedroom for us, and the children can watch it downstairs in the apartment sometimes, it has changed my life. Like I just feel I feel happier. I feel lighter. I feel happier. Everything you said, Lisa, I feel all of those things.
Yeah. It's a learning thing.
Well, thank you, ladies. This was a lot of fun. Yeah. I think that we're going to be wrapping up our show. We'll be back next week with episode 7. We're not sure of the topic yet, but when we do know it, we will certainly share it with you. So check back next week, 2 p.m. right here on YouTube, Resource at Home. And if you like what you see, definitely click on our website and perhaps donate to one of our favorite charities that we have listed there. All right, guys, we will see you next week.
Bye. It was great seeing you all.
Bye.
See ya. Happy DIY.
Happy DIY.